getting ready to take our cables off, and as you can see, it's simply a 3/8, or actually, yeah, probably 3/8 bolt here, and on the lower shift cable again a 3/8 bolt, and you can see we have a lock here that simply flips down. This is no different than the 60s and, well, actually, I guess the 80s motor that we had, the 90 that we sold earlier. It's really the same system. So it's a matter of just taking the lever here, flipping it down as the lock, so that's now down out of the way. So these cables will now slide right out the side, and I have them off the lock. They just fit in there. Take the 2 bolts off right here. You may have to pull the grommet out and slide them right out, and I'll slide these cables out. So I'm going to take those 2 bolts off, slide them out of their keepers, and we'll do the next step. Alright, update. I went to go take off the shift cable nuts, assuming that they were 3/8 by looking at them. Turns out, surprise on a 95, they're 10mm. So, first metric bolt I've come across on this boat, and on the motor here, that was a bit surprising. Alright, I fished out removed and fished out my cables here. You can see why they were, what had happened to them. They had burned up in that fire. And now that I actually have them out and I'm looking at them, I'm going to actually measure these things. They may be the full 24. They seem awfully long. I'm going to get a quick measurement here. Let's see what we got. I don't know if I can do this with a tape measure or not, but I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to lay them out on the floor, and we'll see if they're as long as the boat, then I know they're 24. So let me lay these out, and then we'll see. All right. Well, I stretched these cables out underneath the boat. The boat's 24 feet. I didn't even have to get a tape measure out. They're a little curled up at the ends, but I did have them at the end down here, and these cables are the same length as my boat, which makes them 24-foot cables. I happen to have a set of brand new 24-foot cables. However, and unfortunately on the shift side, they are the new style, not the old style. These are the old style, like this. The new style has, I don't believe, has these black pieces on them. I'm going to take a look at those tomorrow, but now that I know that these are 24s, I know the other 2 sets that I have are both, one of them I know is a 14, the other one I don't know what it is exactly off the top of my head, but I know it only came off a 19-foot boat, so I highly doubt it for 24 feet. So I may be shopping for some 24-foot shift cables. Okay, well, on to the next. I'm going to go back to my tape job. I had to do a little touch-up paint. A couple spots I missed. It should be dry by now. I'm going to go ahead and take these off. Alright, welcome back. I came over today and just pretty much started working. Didn't think about filming a whole lot. Just need to get things done, I guess. But in the meantime, I've been putting this piece back in here. You can see it came out very, very nice. The new paint that I put on it, all the burn marks gone. I was one short here, and what I did is I cut a piece of PVC that was gray, matched the color. You'll never even know the difference. And so just take a quick look, and again, just some standard gray conduit. Color actually matched the same as the rest. Basically just cut a couple of these that I was trying it out, and then I finally matched it up the way I really wanted it, and cut some spacers. It'll be just fine. So as you can see, the boat looks like a bit of a mess, but if you look at the center console, another project I'm working on, once I get done bolting down the back, I think I'm going to go ahead and put these red covers on. I was going to vinyl these covers, but I I think I said in the prior video, I did not end up having enough material to do this properly. Would have had seams everywhere. I mean, technically square footage I have enough, but not any one piece, and I just don't want to do it wrong. I'd rather these just screw on. So I'd rather maybe at some point in the future I'll get big stuff and do it with this. But despite what these may look like, this carpet's not thin or torn or broken or anything. It's just dirty. So I'm gonna wash it real good once I put it back on. It'll be okay for now. So they're gonna go back on. I'll get the live well put back in, and kind of like when I was taking things apart and working from the stern to the bow, I'll do the same thing putting it back together right now. I do want to get this vinyl work done on the center console. New shift cables are on order. They should be here probably Tuesday. So far that's the only new part I've had to buy. So I'll get that done. I really don't like the way you look at the top of this vinyl. It's all cracked and looks awful. So I went and I unscrewed the fiberglass piece, laid it down. I'm gonna staple in and glue some of this gray trim we had left over from another project. It's not 100% matched to this boat, but it's pretty close. I don't have any vinyl without having to buy some that matches exactly, and I think an accent might look nicer than just white on white. So nothing ventured, nothing gained. I'm going to go ahead and put that on. Be ready then to run my cables, run my electrical back in, get the steering gear put back on, get the cables put on, and be on to the next step. We'll deal with putting seats back into whatever seat repair I have to do. A lot of cleaning on those seats. They're filthy. We'll get them put back in. Then I'll work my way through all the electrical. I'm debating. I think I may just run to the auto parts store and get some LED spotlights, rather fog lights, instead of the sport lights that were here. I don't know if there's anything wrong with the sport lights that were here, but the casing around the one was missing. It must have been broken off at some point. So I think I'd kind of like to have some that match. And to be honest with you, round lights on this boat don't seem to match. I mean, it's a very angular boat if you think about it. I think I'd rather have some rectangle ones. I think they look nicer. Or maybe I'll get some of those, smaller, high-intensity LEDs. We'll see. See what they've got and what I can use. But we'll get that all working. I've got the dual batteries all charged up. We're going to switch this to dual batteries. I'm going to go ahead and I'll find a way to mount my switch and get that put in. So making good progress. I think we're going to be okay. I've got another video, another boat I've been working on that eventually I'm going to do some serious painting on it, and this space is much better for that than where it is now, so I'll probably bring it over here. But I got to get this done and out of here in order to do that. In terms of major investment, I will be buying a new bimini cover, and since I've spent all this time working on this boat and getting it nice, I am going to buy a replacement for this nightmare that is all rotten and no good anyway. This was the old boat cover. It was all sort of matted up, and it's actually torn in half when you get in it. So I'll spring for a new cover for this boat, and I think that'll be about it. I don't know that I'm going to buy new decals for the Mercury this year. I'll spend some money on this, not a tremendous amount, but I don't want to go completely overboard, and probably next year I'll spend the $80 and get the new Mercury decals for the 90, and then that motor will look basically brand new. So the other reason I want to hold off on spending that money is, despite the fact in one of the first videos I did on this boat, I had that motor running. It seemed to run very well. It's not like I did a compression check on it. I am going to have to put this in the water and run it, and then I'll know for sure that that motor is really good, as good as I think it is. And then I'll spring for the money to make it look pretty. But that's where we are. So I'm going to keep plugging away here, and more video later. All right, here we go. Specialty tool. If you remember earlier when I was taking that center section off, there's one bolt that you can see just fine when you crawl underneath, but you just can't get at because of the motor well. It's underneath here, up underneath for that bolt up front. Well, I've got my specialty tool, and guess what? I'm here by myself again. I'm going to make an attempt at putting this in myself. So this is going to go underneath. Got a little bit of tape. I'm going to put it over the bolt. All I have to do really is get this nut to start on it, and if I'm lucky, I'll be able to run it in with a drill. We'll see. So here we go. Tool is in and wedged. I have the nut on there. I have this piece of foam that was laying around junk. I've got the nut on there. So the big test now is if I climb up. Let's see what happens when I spin that nut, spin that bolt. Be a big test for me here. Nice if it works. Here we go. Let's find out. Can I do this by myself? Probably not, but it's worth a try. I'd say that's probably a fail. Not quite sure what's happening, but I didn't catch the nut, that's for sure. So let me go down there, reposition. Maybe I'll keep trying this. Correction, it was working. I just stopped too soon. This is going to work. Voila! I call that a success. Awesome. So this was our one-handed blind bolt holder. So you can do it by yourself without a helper. Pretty good. I'm not sure if you go buy specialty tools, they charge you an arm and a leg, and a lot of times you can just make something yourself.